Hello everybody, it is time for Star Trek Online, and today we are taking a look at the Dyson Science Destroyer because I finally got a good working build going on it. Oh, I forgot to open my mark package. Wow, you do not get many Omega Marks for doing the normal STFs. I don't like doing those. Anyways, starting with the weapons, we have the entire Dyson set. So we've got the Grav Torp, the experimental proton weapon, advanced fleet dual heavy cannons, which I went with damage and critical ×3, although I can't switch them because I'm not at Earth space dock. But I'm sure I have a better dual heavy cannon than that. And of course, your bound Solanae dual heavy proton cannon is there. I also went with the Solanae set because it's a Solanae ship. I don't know, it just fit. It's for this ship. So the deflector is pretty good. It boosts your accuracy by 1.8, your structural integrity by 35. Same goes for power insulators and particle generators. And the secondary deflector, which on paper looks useful by giving you 11.4 to your shield systems, so your hit points, your flow capacitors, and your shield emitters, which helps your shield healing, and it also gives you a shield siphon, which gives you it takes away 70.4 from all shields of your enemy. And I don't know, that's not much. Honestly, I mostly run this in tactical mode and I don't notice a difference. The shields drop by like 200 hit points. But whatever, it's there. It's a secondary deflector. The Solanae impulse engines are pretty good. They're not boosting my weapons power because it's maxed, but they are boosting my auxiliary a little bit. And then you also have a chance when hit by directed energy attacks to gain 3.5% turn rate and 0.52 flight speed for 15 seconds, and it can stack up to 5 times. I don't think I've noticed that ever happen. So whether it has or not, who knows. The warp core boosts your auxiliary, gives you higher maximum auxiliary power, helps your subsystem repair, and adds 7.5% of your weapons power to your auxiliary. So it's a really good warp core. For this build anyways, it suits a tactical science ship. And the resilient shield, which is also very good, has a good maximum capacity. On here it says 8270 for the maximum capacity with 229.7 shield regen. Reduces all energy damage by 10%, and you have a 1% chance when hit by directed energy attacks to reflect 33% of the damage. But this can't be triggered more than once every 2 seconds. So, tiny chance, but you do get hit with a lot of attacks. In practice though, that shield right now is at 12,832. I also forgot to mention the rear weapons, because I'm like that. I've got 2 of the fleet antiproton turrets, damage accuracy ×2. Of course, these could be switched for the omnidirectional beam and, say, a mine, because I like to use mines. However, I don't know, more antiproton works. I don't leave it in science mode, so there would be no subsystem targeting. Don't have any beam abilities, so it would just be a beam. And slightly stronger than the turret, but it wouldn't have rapid fire. And of course, the kinetic cutting beam is in there as well. For devices, some batteries and some phaser turret satellites. I went with a Fleet Neutronium plus Turn, Mark 12 for the engineering console, number 1, and number 2 is an RCS accelerator plus all resistance. Again, Mark 12, Fleet quality. For science consoles, there's the proton particle stabilizer to get the 3-piece bonus from the Dyson set, which you can see the 2-piece gives you plus 3 critical chance and 22.9% photon projectile weapon damage, and lets you use fire at will with the experimental proton weapon. It does not apply to this build. And for the 3 set, you get 10% critical chance with photon projectile weapons. Nice. And 10% critical severity. Nice. And you can use rapid fire with the experimental proton weapon. Nice. I like that. I went with the 0-point energy conduit because it helps me resist shield and energy drain and boost critical chance and power to all subsystems. Field generator to get the shields going up a little bit more because their regen is still pretty slow. And the assimilated module because it's a staple of every build. For tactical consoles, I went with 2 auto-targeting plus antiprotons because I got one for free, and a vulnerability locator plus antiproton. And the weapons are boosted very nicely and pretty evenly too. If you look here, the experimental proton weapon is doing 574 proton damage at 918 DPS. The dual heavy anti-proton cannons are doing 1818.6 anti-proton damage, 1213.1 DPS. And the proton dual heavy cannons aren't far behind at 1679 proton damage and 1119 DPS. That's all pretty good across the board. The turrets are both doing 485 anti-proton damage, 620 DPS. And the kinetic cutting beam is doing 1324 kinetic damage and 1062 DPS. That's all really good, especially for a science ship. The gravity well we're using is pulling off 442 kinetic damage, which is squat, but science skills aren't all that great. Or they're at least not all that powerful. It's pretty great to pull all your enemies together. As you'll see in CCE, that really helps get those fragments off your back. So I went with my standard traits. I've got all the space traits. The only thing special to mention here for a human tactical officer is Living Hull, which boosts your health regeneration by 0.05 in combat and 0.1 outside of it. For my space reputation, I went with Omega Kinetic Shearing because I really like it. Auxiliary Power Configuration Defense. I was using Fortified Hull for a while, but honestly this is way better. So you get a kinetic damage resistance, and it's based on 20% of your current auxiliary power level, which is really high on this build. So, kinetic damage resistance is 16.8, all energy damage resistance is 16.8, you get 4.2% of your maximum hit points, and 4.2 maximum shield capacity. I was using, like I said, Fortified Hull in there, and that's 7.5% bonus to your hull hit points. Honestly, 3% is not worth losing more damage resistance and more shield hit points. I'm also using Precision because you need that critical chance. That'll be on every build. And Advanced Targeting Systems for 16% critical severity, in place of what used to be Enhanced Shield Systems, which gave you 10% maximum shield capacity. The critical severity is just better. I'm a tactical officer. It's what I do. Maybe when I rework the Odyssey, I'll go for enhanced shield systems instead, but I doubt it. And the active space traits I'm using for now are the refracting tetraron cascade and the quantum singularity manipulation. And I'm thinking Defiance here will probably get swapped out once I'm Tier 5 Undine for that biogenerator. Because it's at a small radius, but that'll be pretty cool. Taking a look at the ship's stats, we've got a crew of 400, which is okay. A power transfer rate of 127, which is okay. A hull of 41,272, which is also okay. A hull repair rate of 184.5, not bad. Shield regen rate of 229.7, not bad. The shields, as I've said, are at 12.8k, not bad. The kinetic and energy resistance, though, 36 and 37.9, respectively. Those are really good. For our attack, we've got a great bonus accuracy of 31.7, a critical chance of 17.3, which is still really good, all things considered. And critical severity of 93.9, which might be higher than any other ship currently. That's a really good critical severity. And of course, we've got some antiproton weapons. Boom. Extra critical severity. For space skills, I've been over this in another video. Nothing is really too dramatically different or too dramatically important. Structural integrity is nice, though. It's boosted up to 134. For our movement, we've got a flight speed of 26.92, which is alright. That's in science mode, however, and 29 degrees per second. Our turn rate, which looks like this. It is fast enough for cannons. 29 isn't a bad turn rate. It's not a great turn rate, but it's not bad. In tactical mode, however, you can see we're going a little bit faster. Turning a little bit better. Our flight speed, oh no, our flight speed's still the same. But our turn rate has gone up to 31 degrees per second, which is even better. And of course, in this build, you'd have 2 cannons at that point. And I think with cannons, being around 30 is the acceptable limit. I wouldn't, like, you can use dual beam banks and stuff, have a 90-degree targeting arc for around 20 to 25. In the like 29 plus range, you can do dual cannons. This is just how I feel, though. And anything under that is beams. Or carriers with turrets or something. I don't know about carriers. It'll be a while before we see my OB. Don't know why I clicked on rep, but as you can see, Tier 5 and almost halfway to Tier 4 in Undine. For bridge officer abilities, we have, oh man, I'm sorry, I did not get a lot of sleep last night, and it is showing. So we've got my Romulans again in their tactical stations, because they boost critical chance. And nothing's changed for them. There's 2 TAC teams in the ensigns, Rapid Fire 1, Torp Yield 3, and Rapid Fire 3. Which this is only available in tactical mode. You see you have 2 commander positions on this ship. However, in science mode, you've got a lieutenant commander tactical. This cannon Rapid Fire 3 is gone. And in tactical mode, Viral Matrix 3 is gone. And the reason why it's Viral Matrix 3 and not Gravity Well 3, because I could do that, is A, my Saurian will... he's efficient, so he helps the ship as well. But he's also got Gravity Well 1, which I can use all the time. So I literally just run this as an escort, and it serves me quite well like that. So we've got the mandatory hazard emitters and transfer shield strength, double emergency powered shields, because that's how I like to roll, and tentatively we've got polarized hull and another hazard emitters. Don't really need the second hazard emitters, but I don't know what to put there. Thought about scramble sensors, because I use that on my Vesta. It's okay, it's not great. Tachyon beam, again, I find that that's just okay. I don't know, I could do science team maybe. But I don't need shield heals either. So I don't know. It's hazard emitters for now. Because at least I can use that on other people. And I can play a bit more of a support role. Instead of just a slight gatherer and my usual damage dealing role. Now the duty officers I used were one projectile weapon officer, which should be switched for 2, because I don't use subsystem targeting. So 2 projectile weapon officers. I always use this warp core engineer, because 20% chance to boost all your power levels by 25 on the use of any emergency power ability. And I use an emergency power ability once every 15 seconds. So that's 4 times per minute, so pretty much every minute I boosted my power levels by an extra 25, which puts everything pretty much at max. And something's over. Shields would go to 125, weapons would be at 125, and auxiliary would be near there. Went with a gravimetric scientist, because I do this on every ship where I use gravity well. And this guy gives you a 25% chance to create an additional gravity well after 12 seconds, a 20% chance to create an additional gravity well after, or an additional special anomaly. Oh, this looks like it's changed. So it's a special anomaly after 14.5 seconds. After 15, you get a 15% chance to create another additional, or a first additional, after 16 seconds, and a 10% chance to create an additional special anomaly after 18 seconds, sorry. So, before it used to be just the first 3. This 10% chance I don't think existed, from what I remember, and it was always gravity wells. Because I remember seeing like 3 gravity wells sometimes. And in PvP, the odd time I would 1 versus 1 with somebody and do that, it would just be horrible for them. Because if they broke from one of them, and I had them boosted like crazy too, so if they broke from one of them, and then this hit, it would just be boom, right back into another one, and then boom, right back into another one, and they would just get pummeled. Now, it's not as effective, but sometimes you see another gravity well. So went with the development lab scientist to lower the time for an ability that I don't have. Oh man. I was using science team on this, and that's why that one is there. I will have to choose somebody else to replace this development lab scientist. Here you go, you are watching this build take shape on the fly. I'll put... No, I'm never really... This Mirror Hakiv here is kind of useless because it sounds great in theory. You've got to... Basically, it causes hazard emitters to apply emergency hazard emitters to any friend with less than 50% hull within 3 kilometers of the primary target. So it's basically hazard emitters 1. But they've got to be within 2.5 kilometers of whatever you're targeting. and at less than 50% hull. That's so circumstantial, it's ridiculous and useless. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this like an escort and put 3 torpedo officers. And then I have my nurse. Because honestly, since I've started using this DOF, my crew is always alive. And my hull is always healing now, and it's great. It has helped so much. I can't recommend one of these enough. I spent 13.5 million EC on it. Majorly overspent because a week later they were like 6. However, it's worth it. You know, if you can pick one of these up for 6 million, do it. It's a great duty officer. When your crew in combat is below 75%, your recovery rate is boosted by 200. So you'll regen 150% of your crew in 1 whole minute, which is real nice. You'll see with a nurse that you can actually keep a crew alive. In most circumstances, if you're just getting absolutely pummeled, they're going to die. But this is a pretty good build. It doesn't hold a lot of aggro, so it doesn't really get pummeled. And your crew stays alive, and your hull keeps healing. So the times you do take a pretty devastating blast, you can shrug it off. Now power tray is set up as usual. Needs some tweaks. Some of these kind of suck, like if I want to call in my Nimbus noobs, I'm going to activate my metaphasic shields. Oh, that reminds me, I need to talk to you about the bonuses from the Solanae set. So the Solanae set's bonuses suck. I'm just going to get it out there right away, and I'm going to read it to you and tell you why. So, set bonus 2 is plus 3.1 shield power and plus 2 shield power setting, and a bonus increases at low power. That's good. This is the only bit of the Solanae set bonuses that I like. Set 3, I have tested this with a friend extensively. It doesn't work. Like, literally, it doesn't matter how you do it, just no. It will not work. If you are going into this for the instructional integrity leech, forget it. You want hull healing from a bonus, go for 2-piece Borg. But what this is supposed to do is grant all of your energy weapon attacks a 2.5% chance to repair your hull for 100% of the damage they deal, except it can only trigger once per second. It's a max of 1020 hull restored, which of course isn't the maximum you can do. I mean, can you imagine hitting a beam overload and it just being the lucky one and your hull is healed? That'd be amazing. I would love that. But it does have a minimum, which is nice if you were, say, flying a turret boat. Because 255, I mean, in an O bloated with turrets, you probably wouldn't do that to a lot of your enemies and a lot of your hits. However, 255 hull is pretty much nothing to an O. And then there is a good-ish bonus of the metaphasic shields, which is basically an O-ship button. The good thing is, somewhere in here we go. Plus 600 all damage bonus resistance rating, plus 50 shield power settings, converts 50% of incoming energy damage into shield restoring. Well, it should say energy, it just kind of stops there. And it gives you immunity to teleport. What I don't like about it is it reduces your damage by 20% and your flight speed and turn rate by 50. So you're slow and you don't hit as hard. And although the numbers I showed you weren't bad for all the DPS on the weapons, just you don't want to take that hit. And it'll keep you alive. It's good for a no shit button, but if you've got to run, or say you accidentally hit it at a time when you're trying to run from crystalline entities' area of effect, you're gonna get hit with it. Now you might survive because of the 600 damage resistance, but I have not tested that because I don't feel like having to repair my ship for it. So yeah, the metaphasic shields, they're okay. But all in all, I wouldn't use the Solanae set on anything but this ship. Some other problems with the power tray are if I want to use Power Matrix, I mean I can always click on it, but using the Naga and doing it the efficient and lazy way, I activate my evasive maneuvers. So that kind of sucks. But it's not the biggest deal. I won't fly this much. To be honest, I've got better ships. It's not bad. It's an okay ship. And all the ships I show you will be like elite PvE certified ships. They will be able to take it. So, and this one can. It does well in elite PvEs. I've taken it out in ice, and pretty sure I've done the Undine Battle Zone with it. But if not, you'll see how it performs, and it should do well. So the power levels are 100 and 125 for weapons, 3564 for shields, 3561 for engines, and 3069 for auxiliary. Not as high as I'm used to seeing on my ships, but you know, my heck is going to be the pinnacle of what I can do. It is just going to be an insane powerhouse and PvP certified. My Audi is going to be my flagship. It's going to be the ship that can withstand everything, take on every STF, solo cubes. I don't know if it's going to be exactly PvP certified, because last time I took it into PvP, it was taken out in about 2 seconds. But that was a really powerful player too. I will try to make that one PvP certified and bring you a really cool build. I've just switched to disruptors on it because I've got a couple of those Purpo Bile disruptors from the rep system, and I want to use them. So, that just about covers it. We'll take a look at what is a ship that honestly, it grows on you when you look at it. It's not the best looking ship ever, but it does look pretty interesting. It matches with the whole Solanae Dyson sphere look. It's still classic Federation in design. Honestly, you come to like it. I like how it looks now, but it looked ugly as sin when I first got it. The textures on it are quite smooth, and then you've got all kinds of cool texturing over in the blacks. The windows look really cool too. I don't know, I like the design of it. It grows on you. Final thoughts? Well, I mean, if you got this ship, you can build this whole thing for free. You don't have to use antiproton, but this comes from rep, dilithium store, you know, fleets. Even if you're not in a fleet, throw normal neutronium and an RCS in there. These are drops from the rep system, and you can just fill this all up with them. You can use, say, a Voth antiproton dual cannon, grind these out of the Dyson. You get this with the Solanae ship as well as the deflector, and the set comes from a mission that you can repeat. This is from the rep system, this is bound to the ship. So, as a science vessel, or even an escort, that you can get for free and gives you some versatility. It's really good. I mean, for other cheap or free alternatives, you would be looking at Mirror Universe ships, or like the Prometheus class Advanced Escort. Obviously not the Multi-Vector or anything cool like that. Or, you know, if you played the mission or just have a crap ton of fleet credits, there's the Audi, which is a better free ship. It's an amazing free ship. I use the free one and I don't see a need for the C-Store ones, except for maybe Saucer Set. So, you know, you look at it that way, especially if you're a science captain and you don't want to put any money into this game ever, and you happen to do the commendations in the event and get this ship, it's a great ship. You can buy it in a low-buy store. I wouldn't. You can buy C-Store variants, or Z-Store, or whatever they call it nowadays. In fact, you can see the bundles right up there. We go to Federation class. Advanced Dyson Science Destroyers. There's all three of them. They all look just as interesting. They all come with their own consoles. Which they're not going to show me what they are, but I will go to each individual one. Proton destabilizer module, so that's like a proton blast. Kind of like the refracting tetrion beam. So that's not really all that good. Protonic shield matrix. That basically shores up your shields, it hardens them, and I think it converts incoming energy damage into shield healing. Kind of like reverse shield polarity. Or no, that's what inversion projector I think is. The shield inversion universal console may be equipped in any console slot, blah blah blah. Blah blah blah, that's not what we want. There we go. That, when activated, emits a devastating tachyon beam blast from the ship's deflector dish, causing the enemy's shields to briefly collapse. The affected enemy ship will have its shields weakened and suffer heavy shield and hull damage. Allies caught in the wave will receive a large amount of immediate shield regeneration. So yeah, this was the one that was like reverse shield polarity. Okay, never mind. All incoming damage is dealt to the protonic shielding until the shield's power is depleted. It cannot be used while auxiliary or offline. So, meh. Reverse shield polarity is far better than that console. Meh. Because you can just use the Dyson set or the refracting tetrion cascade. And this one has a good ability. But there's nothing really special about it. Like, you get a Lieutenant Universal instead of a Lieutenant Tactical, I think it is. Or no, instead of a Lieutenant Science. I'd honestly rather have the Lieutenant Science. I mean, what else are you going to do? Are you going to make it an engineer and then make this a really not balanced science ship? Or a not sciencey science ship? It doesn't make sense. You get a better shield modifier, but this one's good enough. So they're not worth spending money on, these ships. As a free ship, it's pretty good. It's probably the best free science ship you can get. And if you're a science captain looking to do more damage, or you're a tactical captain looking to try out science ships, it's great. If you don't have one, I should have just said this in the beginning, and I'm sorry for making you wait this long for it, but don't spend your money, don't spend your time, don't spend your low buy. If you really want it, eventually I'm sure you'll be able to get it, because they tend to repeat all these events and let people re-earn awards. And they've also said that, you know, for new players coming in, because now that there's been like the 2-year anniversary, you got the Audi, the 3-year you got the support cruiser, and the 4-year you got the Dyson. But you know, now you can get the Audi for fleet credits. I don't think you can get the support cruiser, and you get this through low buy, and that's not ideal. And the support cruiser and the Audi are really cool, so I mean, I hope that they do bring back those events for newer players to get those, because those are better free ships, especially the Audi. But yeah, if you've watched this long, thank you, and I hope you have an awesome one, guys. Until next time, see you later.